Hey guys, this video is a longer version of the short that I just did on healing from a discard. And this is really deep because this is something that I encounter all the time in my one-on-one sessions. And I've been through it myself. And this is a little bit of a twist because when you see the bigger picture of the breakup with someone who has avoidant and narcissistic tendencies, it can be very confusing. And so I hope this video helps you to navigate through it and find some peace. Okay. So if you don't know me, my name's Deborah. I'm an intuitive reader, energy healer, and quantum coach. And what I do in my private sessions is I help people to get out of stuck situations, whether it's relationships or career, money, health, whatever. Because I too have been in a trauma bond. I've also had health issues, and I have tools that I use in my private clients, not only for them, but for myself first. So it has been very powerful to release and heal from what I have been so used to dealing with, and finding tools that have helped me, especially release work. So when I'm doing a session with someone, if it's more than just an intuitive reading, I help people to release through energy healing work and coaching them to implement it into their life. So with that being said, going deeper into this video, I coach a lot of people. I have a lot of sessions that are where they have been in this kind of trauma bond with someone who has these, narcissistic and avoidant tendencies. But what's so interesting is that I help, and I've done this myself, and I've helped others to realize that you're not a victim. That's the biggest part of taking responsibility. Now, a lot of times we are pointing the finger at that person saying they discarded me, they were abusive, blah, 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 blah. But this work that I do with people is very, very deep, and it's not for the faint of heart, because it's all about you and nothing about them. It is about them, but it has everything to do with you and nothing to do with you, all in one. So how does it not have any, or how does it have everything to do with you? Is that you are creating at every moment your life through your thoughts. And I hope you understand this. Some people may, some people may not. But there are three worlds: the causal, astral, and physical. The causal is all thought, the astral is your energy body, and the physical is the dense material realm. So we are always thinking. We have thoughts coming in. What are we holding on to? What thoughts are coming in, and what are we personalizing? What are we and what are we projecting? So in my case, as an example, I was in a relationship where in the beginning, I did not have any idea that this person was the way he was, and I didn't have any idea. I didn't feel like this person could replace me or, be unfaithful. Okay. So, but I had all these subconscious tendencies with me from past relationships that I had not healed from, especially my childhood. And that's what's running the show, is your subconscious mind is designing your experiencing. So if you haven't let go of past hurt, if you haven't let go of stories, memories of your childhood, and you're still holding on to those, you're going to take it right with you into your relationships, all relationships, and it's not just romantic. Once you see your part, once you see it, you can't unsee it. But it's, again, not for the faint of heart when you see, oh my God, I created all of this. And some of you may agree, some of you may disagree, but if you're still with me, take a listen. So In my case, I didn't realize that I had not really healed from my past. So I had another opportunity with my past relationship. And um, so this person, what I started to project was suspicion. Actually, the first time we broke up is when I should have walked out forever, because I was replaced like that. And that, now, if that happened now, I'd be gone. So, but that kind of person who does that are the most insecure people you can imagine. They don't want to look at themselves. Like, if you're a regular normal person and you've fallen in love with someone and they discard you and they replace you really quickly, it's usually because they do have supply around, and if it doesn't work with you, they're gonna jump monkey branch to the next person, because they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to do the inner work. That's too overwhelming because of their own shame, of their own sense of lack, their own shame, their guilt, their memories, their sadness, their hurt, all of that stuff. And so it's when you meet somebody like this and you haven't healed as well, then you're one person who has a sense of lack is going to be with another person that has a sense of lack, and they're going to try to fill the void, but it never ever works. It's just going to be more trauma. So what happens is that for me, I discovered that I was also an avoidant. Why did I choose somebody like this? It's because I was afraid to be with somebody who was emotionally available. Okay? So that's a twist right there. Because it looks like, oh, I was discarded. No, I wasn't discarded. I created that discard because I knew deep down that this wasn't right, that this was, that I couldn't trust this person. But let me tell you, why couldn't I trust them? Because I was already projecting suspicion. Because the first time that happened, I allowed it to happen, right? When I got discarded the first time and replaced, I allowed it, I held on, and I kept going. And what did I do? I created more projection of this person being this way. So when you project the suspicion, you're going to get that back. It's going to be reflected back. That person is going to be that way. Where society says, oh, they're a narcissist, they're an avoidant, that's who they are. Yeah. You know what? They have those tendencies. But if you stop projecting these tendencies of suspicion, of being one step ahead of that person, proving yourself right, because that's what you're doing, is proving yourself right. So I want you to see that it's like you are at every moment, you are creating these scenes of your experiencing of life. And so once you release, once you start to do the work and start to see, oh my God, I hold that in mind all the time. Like men, cheat or whatever. We have these little subconscious mantras. I'm not chosen, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, because maybe when your childhood you were thinking that you weren't good enough because your mom or your dad didn't give you emotional support, right? So then we grow up and we choose these kind of people because we're trying to work something out. We're trying to prove ourselves right or wrong, and we are choosing these emotionally unavailable people because we're not emotionally available to ourselves. And for me, when I discovered that, I saw how it played out in other areas of my life, and that is not easy to look at because it's like, oh shit, oh my God, of course, and who was holding myself back from having a healthy relationship? Me. So it has everything to do with you, and nothing, and it has nothing to do with them, because if you see your part and you see that you're projecting all of this, then you can not choose those kind of people anymore. And this is this is where people don't believe this, is that if you still feel like that's your person, okay, and you just release all of your tendencies, and you really clearly start to think different thoughts and think more of what you want, not what you don't want, and you release like the suspicion, and you release all of this garbage, that person can show up differently and come back. Absolutely. I mean, and some people say that's not true because, they are who they are, but you have no idea when you heal how much you help the other person. Even if they don't know it, you're not doing it directly for them, you're doing it for yourself, but you're actually helping them because you're not engaging in that kind of toxic behavior anymore, but also you are shifting your projections. Think about it. If you're in a room, like a white room with a white screen, and you are looking at that white screen, every thought is being projected onto that screen, and that's exactly what's going to happen in your life. So think of what you want instead of what you don't want, and start investigating the subconscious thoughts that are really dominating your experiencing. Because if you say I'm going to go on a diet, what happens the next day? Somebody gives you a piece of chocolate cake, right? And you're like, oh no. So your conscious mind has intentions, but your subconscious mind isn't convinced a lot of times. So you really have to sometimes do some digging, and the subconscious tendencies, when you pull them out, it's like pulling weeds, but sometimes they'll grow back, but you really want to pull them out so they don't grow back. It's also, I was telling a client today, it's also like if you have the fan plugged in and it's high, the fan is going really fast, and then you unplug it. Sometimes it takes a while for it to completely stop because it's been going like this for so long. So it's the same with the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is going to keep going sometimes, and I've seen people that I work with where they start to release and they're really doing a great job, but then the old timeline appears again in the 3D, and they're like, oh no, and they feel like it's not working. And that's when I say have the faith and trust, because when you really commit to experimenting with release work, you will for sure see results. And either way, especially if you're in a relationship where you feel like you're still energetically stuck to this person, but it's not good for you, like eating chocolate cake, too much chocolate cake, right? So I help people through energy work to really release that tie, and to really just work on doing the release work until they feel more at peace, happier, more content, and really being content with your own self, and really falling in love with yourself, and letting your guilt go, and your remorse, and your doubts and fears and all that stuff. And then you give that whole relationship that you were in to the universe, and if it's meant to be, that person will come back, and if it's not, somebody else will come along, and you'll be blown out of the water. But first, you will change your frequency so that you don't choose those kind of people. Because when we choose someone who's breadcrumbing us, it's because we're breadcrumbing ourselves. We're not taking care of ourselves. We're not nurturing ourselves. And so many people, the playbook is the same. It's always the same with people who have the narcissistic tendencies, whether it's covert or overt, and avoidant tendencies. They don't have the inside life. Like they don't have it. I marvel at how easy it is for them. It's like in my situation, this person, I think from the very beginning didn't have the love for me. They don't have it. I don't think they can help it. I really don't. Maybe it's me. I don't know. But it doesn't seem like it's me. It seems like it's not. They don't have the capacity, and or the capacity is very limited, because it's so easy for them to walk away and replace. It's just like that. Whereas we, normal people, like, we go through the grieving process, the stages of grief. It's like they don't. Or if they do, it's later. It's delayed. Especially when they feel like you're completely gone and you are no longer a supply. Because basically you are a supply to them. You are, one of many. And I discovered that's what happened to me. I was one of many. Easily replaceable. And so, but see, that was my projection. My projection, even before I met this person, was I'm not chosen. That was my subconscious projection. So of course I'm going to attract someone and choose someone that does that to me, because that's what I'm thinking. So once you release that and you start thinking of something different, everything will change. Even that person could possibly change. I'm not counting on that, but I'm just saying, like, if you are in a position where you really feel that person is worth it, maybe they're not a narcissist, maybe they're not, they don't have avoidant tendencies, and you feel you're in separation with them and you feel like it's worth a shot, then yeah, just go ahead and experiment with the releasing and see what happens. Because here's another big chunk, is that when you are wanting approval from someone, and that my teacher just said this to the group this weekend, and we all gasped. Like, she said these two things that were so incredibly powerful, is that let me back up. When I'm coaching someone and helping them to release, I always say I help them to set an intention, and then I put 3 words on the side: control, approval, security. Because when they start to release all their doubts and fears of why they don't think that intention can come to fruition, it's because usually it's either they want control, approval, or security. So approval means love. So my teacher was saying, if you are wanting approval from someone, like begging for love for someone, or just begging for their approval, it's because you're disapproving of them. And it was like, everybody just looked around like, oh my God, and it's true. It really is true. When I looked at it, I looked at certain situations with people, and I was like, oh my God, I was disapproving of them. Wow. And then the other one was, if you are wanting control of any situation, it's because you are denying the control you already have, which is your soul. So releasing is where you are basically, you as the universe are perfect health, perfect wealth, perfect love. That part of you, that higher self, doesn't need anything from anyone. Is completely neutral. It's pro you, it's all supportive of you because it runs you, and you are it, and everyone is you. You are one with everyone and everything. Nothing is separate, even though the world makes you feel like it is, because that's the movie, that's the play that we're in. For funsies, we're all playing separate. We have separate body minds, but our soul is all one. That's why you can program anything you want in this life. You can manifest. I hate the word manifest, because it sounds like work, and it's not. It's easy. It's effortless. To be who you are, to be your soul, is effortless. To be a human is effortful. It's like, we as humans, we want to control, we want to manipulate, we want approval, we want security, safety, and those are, to preserve the body. Of course, we need to do that. Those are our instincts. But as far as manifesting or calling in whatever you want in your life, it can be effortless, and people don't realize, because we have all these concepts. We have to work so hard for this, all these concepts. And so when we start releasing those limiting beliefs, those concepts, not every thought is a limiting belief, but the ones that don't work for us, that work against us, and we release those, our life completely changes on the outside. We become wealthier, we become healthier, we become more loving, but it's not for the faint of heart, because you may see things about yourself that are really painful to look at. And I have to say, I have done that and I continue to do that, but I don't beat myself up anymore because I'm like, you know what? Now I know why people don't do this work, because it's hard. Because it's like, ugh. Because then you see, oh wow, maybe I didn't treat people very well, you know. But then you see where it was coming from, and you have compassion for yourself, and then you can have more. You have more capacity for having compassion for yourself and for other people too, because you're like, oh God. And so, you know, there's all this negativity about narcissists and avoidance, and I get it, because they can be very toxic. But they have the most pain inside. It appears like they don't, because they seem like they're winning, you know, because they can replace you, they can do whatever, but it's still trying to fill a void, especially men and women who are players like that, just, you know, monkey branch around and have the supply and yada yada. It's very selfish, very self-centered and insecure. They're very insecure. They're not capable of having intimate, emotional intimacy. And so I wasn't capable either, because I was choosing that kind of person and that kind of dynamic and that kind of connection because it felt safe to me. In a weird way, it's so weird, because I was wanting approval as I was disapproving of this person because of their behavior. I should have walked away a long time ago. But I didn't have the self-worth that I have now. But I was wanting to control. I was wanting approval. I wanted security from someone that did not give that to me at all. And then I discovered I was replaceable, and I was supply. But I also, in a weird way, it kept me safe. I wanted safety because it was comfortable. It felt like home. It was because that's what I grew up with. Because I didn't have that emotional intimacy that I was so craving. Oh my God. So of course I'm like, I'm home. This feels great, you know, but it was not. I mean, it was the exact opposite. So once I discovered that and I was able to release that, and my heart started to open more, I felt like I got myself back. I felt like my passion for life came back. My passion for God came back. And now I am having intimacy in more ways than one, in emotional intimacy, and, you know, and seeing what's possible. And well, it's not even possible, it's happening. But just being more and more open to being open and vulnerable, because that's what is required, you know, in a healthy relationship, is being open and feeling safe and not being judged, and, you know, and being in the highest love that you can in human love. And it's not easy, because most people in this world, especially in the West, like, people don't know how to be in healthy relationships, because they have all these expectations, because they're coming from a sense of lack and they're wanting to fill a void. And they're placing all that pressure on someone else. And so the most ideal relationships are two people that are working on themselves, who are conscious. They're conscious, and they are not trying to fill a void with the other person. They're just having them as an extension, you know, like enjoying and celebrating together. So, and I highly recommend the book, The Power of Now, Conscious Relationships, the chapter. I think it's called Conscious Relationships, but it's something I'm going to reread because it's so good. And a lot of people aren't there, you know, and then other people, they settle for comfort, but they're not happy in relationships, you know. But that's a whole nother video. So this is what I'm saying. The way to heal from this kind of connection that you've had that is the um, the connection that I had. Sorry, the trauma bond. It's getting a little late here, so I'm a little tired. But the trauma bond is, there is a way to get out of the intense suffering of heartbreak when you've been discarded. And then you'll discover that, and I was just working with a client that that really discovered in the session, oh my God, I'm the one that left. I wasn't really discarded, but it felt like I was discarded. But really, I can trace it back too when I deflated and I was like, I don't think this is going to go anywhere, but I kept going in the relationship, and then the discard happened. So the whispers were quiet in my intuition until I got knocked over, to make the decision to leave. And that wasn't easy at all, because I still love this person. But to allow that kind of behavior and allow it over time will wear you out. It will wear your nervous system down, and it will create a lot of damage, to allow someone to treat you that way. And why do we do it? Because we are breadcrumbing ourselves. We're not nurturing ourselves. We're not being there, and that's where the true healing comes in. And the more you work on yourself and you treat yourself the way you deserve to be treated, then you will absolutely attract not only a partner but friends that will treat you the way you deserve to be treated too, because you are in control at every moment. You are creating it at every moment, and you will be able to have something way, way better. And I have to say that when we were I was releasing with one of my clients today, and she was sharing something that I also had a limiting belief that, well, I can be open and vulnerable with my best friends, my girlfriends, but I can't do it with a man. That's a limitation. And she said the same thing. She's like, well, there's some people that I just have this open-hearted relationship, and we love each other so much, but it's not romantic. And I'm like, okay, great. That's showing you that you are capable of having what you want with a man, but you're believing that you can't. So release that belief that you can't. And she was like, oh yeah, okay. And so that's what I did. And so what's appearing is so different. People that are healthy, men that are healthy, that are kind, and when you are so obsessed in the trauma bond, you can't even see the healthy in anyone. You're not even open to it. But when you start to release, you realize, oh my God. Then you can see them, you can cherish them, and they see you. Whereas in a trauma bond, they don't see you. They don't get you. There's no intimacy, emotional intimacy there. It's just a trauma bond. and they're very sticky to get out of. So, this is a very intense video. I hope you get something out of it. If you want to book a session with me, it can really help clear all of this. And I am right there with you and helping you to let it go. Also, I started a private Facebook group that is support, where people can support each other. If you are interested in that, please comment and I'll send you the link. I'll send you the invite. Okay, have a great one.